In the bustling city of Mumbai, there lived a young man who had once been full of enthusiasm and ambition. From a young age, he had dreamed of building a successful business, believing that hard work and determination would lead him to a prosperous future. With relentless effort, he established his own company, and in the beginning, everything seemed promising. Orders poured in, profits grew, and he was confident that he was on the path to success. However, life had other plans. Slowly, things started to fall apart. Sales began to decline, and customers who once eagerly placed orders stopped coming. Despite his best efforts to keep the business afloat, his finances collapsed, and debts began piling up. He struggled to pay his employees' salaries, and creditors relentlessly called him, demanding their money back. As his financial troubles worsened, so did his personal life. The stress and frustration took a toll on his marriage, leading to constant arguments at home. Eventually, his wife, unable to bear the hardships any longer, decided to leave, taking their children with her. Now, the once hopeful and determined young man found himself completely alone. His dreams were shattered, his family was gone, and his business, something he had built with so much passion, was on the verge of total ruin. With no solution in sight and overwhelmed by despair, he felt lost. The fire that once burned within him had faded, leaving him with no motivation to continue living. Would he find a way to rise from this darkness, or would he let his failures define his fate? The sun was setting over Mumbai's coastline, casting an orange glow over the vast ocean. The waves crashed against the rocks below, their rhythmic roar drowning out the noise of the city. On the edge of a steep cliff, the young man stood motionless, staring blankly at the water beneath him. His mind was clouded with thoughts of despair. Everything he had worked for, his business, his family, his dreams, had crumbled. His heart was heavy with failure, and he saw no way out of his misery. He clenched his fists, his eyes filled with tears as he whispered to himself, "If I end my life, at least the insurance money will clear my debts. My family will no longer suffer because of me." The thought lingered in his mind, growing stronger with every passing second. He had never imagined that his life would come to this. Once filled with ambition and drive, he was now nothing but a broken man, overwhelmed by loneliness and hopelessness. Just as he was about to take a step forward, a gentle hand rested on his shoulder. Startled, the young man turned around to see an elderly man standing behind him. The old man, dressed in simple jogging clothes, had a kind yet wise expression on his face. His eyes, though aged, held warmth and understanding. "Son, is something troubling you?" the old man asked gently. The young man frowned. He didn't want to talk to anyone, especially not a stranger. "I don't even know you, sir. Please, just leave me alone," he muttered. But the old man didn't move. Instead, he smiled patiently. "I may not know you, but I can see the pain in your eyes. Maybe talking about it will help. Please, tell me what's wrong." Something about the man's voice was comforting, almost fatherly. For a moment, the young man hesitated. Then, as if a dam had broken inside him, he started speaking. His words tumbled out uncontrollably. His business failures, his mounting debts, the relentless creditors, his wife leaving him, and the unbearable loneliness that followed. He confessed that he had lost all hope and saw no reason to go on. The old man listened without interrupting, nodding occasionally. When the young man finally stopped, exhausted from pouring out his pain, the old man gave him an understanding smile. "Son, if money is the root of your suffering, I can help," the old man said. Reaching into his pocket, he pulled out a checkbook. With steady hands, he signed a blank check, folded it neatly, and placed it in the young man's hand. "Take as much as you need and pay me back whenever you can. Don't lose hope," the old man said, his voice filled with reassurance. The young man hesitated before unfolding the check. His breath caught in his throat when he read the name on it, Dhirubhai Ambani. He looked up in shock. Could it really be? Dhirubhai Ambani, the legendary businessman, one of the richest men in the world? The realization sent a jolt through his heart. Was this truly happening? By the time he gathered his thoughts and looked up to speak, the old man was already walking away, disappearing into the evening crowd. The young man stood there, gripping the check, feeling something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. As the young man held the check in his trembling hands, a newfound feeling surged through him. Hope. For the first time in months, he felt as though a door had opened, showing him a path forward. If someone like Dhirubhai Ambani believes in me, why can't I believe in myself, he thought. That single moment changed everything. The despair that had consumed him was now replaced by a burning determination. He realized that his failures did not define him. His willingness to rise again did. He wiped his tears, took a deep breath, and made a decision. He would fight back. The next morning, he returned to his office with a different mindset. He called for an emergency team meeting. His employees, who had grown used to his defeated demeanor, were surprised to see the fire in his eyes. "Our tough times are over," he declared with confidence. "We're not giving up. Let's get back to work, fulfill orders, and rebuild this company." His energy was contagious. Inspired by his determination, his team regained their motivation. They worked harder, reconnected with old clients, and sought new opportunities. Slowly but surely, orders began coming in again. Deliveries were made on time, and the company started recovering. His persistence paid off. As the business flourished, his confidence grew even stronger. He no longer feared failure. He embraced challenges with resilience. But the transformation wasn't just professional, it was personal as well. Seeing his newfound strength and unwavering determination, his wife, who had once lost faith in him, started to believe again. Over time, she and their children returned, completing the family that he thought he had lost forever. Through all of this, the check remained safely locked away. He never cashed it. At first, he kept it as a financial safety net, but as time went on, he realized that he didn't need the money at all. The check had already given him something far more valuable: belief in himself. It became a symbol of faith, a reminder that his success was never about wealth, but about his mindset. His true strength had always been within him. 2 years had passed since that fateful evening on the cliff. The young man was now a transformed person. His business was thriving, his financial struggles were behind him, and his family was whole again. He had everything he once thought he had lost. One day, while cleaning his office, he stumbled upon an old envelope tucked away in his locker. As he opened it, he saw the check, the very check that had reignited his hope and changed his life. A wave of gratitude washed over him. He had never needed to cash it, but the mere thought that someone believed in him had been enough to turn his life around. He knew he had to find the old man and thank him properly. Determined, he returned to the park where they had met. He waited for hours, scanning every jogger, hoping to see the familiar figure of the elderly man. But as the sun began to set, there was still no sign of him. Frustrated yet still hopeful, he noticed a large building nearby. It looked like a senior care home. Thinking the old man might be inside, he walked to the reception and asked if they knew an elderly gentleman named Dhirubhai Ambani. The receptionist smiled knowingly and let out a small chuckle. "Oh, so you got a check too?" she said. The young man was confused. "What do you mean?" The receptionist explained, "This is a senior care home for elderly people with mental health issues. There's an old man here who believes he is Dhirubhai Ambani. He hands out blank checks to people just to cheer them up." The young man stood frozen. His heart pounded as realization hit him. The real Dhirubhai Ambani had passed away years ago. The check in his hand was never real, yet it had changed everything. Not his bank balance, but his mindset. The belief that he had been given a second chance, that someone had faith in him, had given him the courage to rebuild his life. The true power had never been in the check. It had always been inside him. The young man realized that what had truly transformed his life wasn't money. It was his belief and mindset. He had thought that financial help was the solution to all his problems, but in reality, even if the check had been real, he wouldn't have succeeded without confidence and determination. It wasn't wealth that saved him, it was the belief that he could rise again. A simple act of kindness from a stranger had given him the push he needed to escape despair. The old man hadn't given him money, he had given him hope. Sometimes, when we feel lost, we don't actually need financial help. What we truly need is a reason to believe in ourselves again. Life is full of unexpected challenges and setbacks. The young man had once believed that failure was the end of his journey. but he learned that it was just a stepping stone towards something greater. Instead of running away from hardships, he discovered the power of resilience and perseverance. Every setback carries an opportunity if we have the courage to find it. At the end of the day, no one can truly change our lives unless we make the decision to change ourselves. The old man had planted the seed, but it was the young man's own mindset shift that led to his success. When we shift our perspective, the world around us shifts as well. True strength doesn't come from external help, it comes from within. The young man's journey teaches us a powerful lesson. Our greatest strength comes from within. No matter how difficult life gets, hope, determination, and belief in ourselves can help us rise again. We often think we need external solutions, money, luck, or someone to rescue us. But true transformation happens when we change our mindset. The blank check didn't save him, his belief did. If you're struggling, don't let fear control your life. Hard times are temporary, but your strength is permanent. Believe in yourself, because you are stronger than you think. If this story inspired you, share it. You never know who might need this message today.